Hello friends, I am going to teach you now the second part of this chapter, which is method of images. What is method of images? Whatever your configuration is there, mirror image of the charge configurations you have to think, and what is the potential is created because of that image charge with a new configurations. That is the way you can find out the solutions to your problem in a region of interest. This method of images we are going to study through one classic image problem. What is this classic image problem? Suppose a point charge q is held at a distance d above an infinite grounded conducting plane as shown in the figure 3.10. Question is this: what is the potential in the region above this plane? Now that means you can think about this figure. There is a infinite conducting plane is there, which is grounded. That means it's kept at a potential V is equal to 0. So battery negative terminal is connected over here. And in the region of interest, Z is greater than 0. That means above this conducting plane at a distance d on a Z axis, there is a point charge plus Q is placed. Because of this configurations, what will be the solutions to the potential in this region of interest at any point? So we are interested to find out the potential in this region of interest at particular point P, which is having a coordinate x, y, z. Coordinates of the charge q is going to be 0, 0, 0. Now you might be thinking, because this conducting plane is kept at a zero potential, it is having no effect on the potential in the region of interest, but it is not true. What is the potential contributed by the charge q? That is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 q upon r, where r is the distance from the charge q to that particular point. And this will not contribute any potential, but this is not true. Actually what happens, this charge q is also contributing a potential at point P, as well as because of this charge q there is a negative charge which is going to be coming to the surface of this conducting plane, and that also contribute a potential at point P. Now we don't know how much amount of the charge is going to be induced on the conducting plane and how it is going to be distributed. So because of this configuration, it is difficult to find out potential at a point P. So you can read these things, but how can we possibly calculate the potential when we don't know how much charge is induced or how it is distributed? From a mathematical point of view, our problem is like this. Our problem is to solve the Poisson's equations in the region of interest, that is z is greater than 0, with a single point charge q residing at 0, 0 d, subject to the boundary conditions. Now what is the boundary of our region of interest? One boundary is a xy plane at z is equal to 0. Another boundary is infinite boundary covering our regions, and that means that point is taken to be infinity xyz. That means x square plus y square plus z square is greater than d square. That is another boundary. Potential on both the boundary is specified. That is v is equal to 0 when z is equal to 0, since the conducting plane is grounded. And second boundary conditions, v tends to 0 far from the charge, that is if x square plus y square plus z square is greater than d square. That is another boundary which is enclosing our region of interest. Actually the first uniqueness theorem and its corollary guarantee that there is only one function that meets this requirement. If by trick or clever guess we can discover such functions, it got to be the answer. That means directly we cannot get the answer, because charge q is also contributing potential over there, as well as the induced charge is also contributing a potential at any point in the region of interest. So we will be using some trick or by clever guess. If we find out the potential in that region of interest, and if it satisfies the Poisson's equation and it has a correct value of potential at the boundary, then that solution must be right. So, that we are going to utilize by using some tricks. So, forget about the actual problem. We are going to study complete different situation. In this new situation, new configuration consists of 2 point charges plus q at 0,0 d and minus q at 0,0 minus d, and no conducting plane. That is as shown in the figure 3.11. For this configuration, I can easily write down the solutions to the potential. Now, this is a different configurations we are imaging. So, in this configuration, there is no conducting plane like this one. Plus q charge is residing on a positive z axis where 0,0 d distance is will be there, and the mirror image of this positive charge on a negative z axis, that is minus q charge, is residing at 0,0 minus d. Because of this configuration, what is the potential created? Because of two different point charge, we can utilize the principle of superposition and we can find out potential in our region of interest. So, that potential is equal to V is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 upon R1 plus Q2 upon R2 using the principle of superposition. Here we can consider that first charge Q is equal to Q, positive charge, and upon, if there is a point P is taken and that point P is having a variable coordinate x, y, z, then you can say that the distance from the charge Q to a point P is nothing but x minus 0, y minus 0, z minus d will be the coordinates of this differential vector r minus r1, and the distance is given by under root x square plus y square plus z minus d whole square. Similarly, this charge is also contributing potential at that particular point. Again, that is going to be x minus 0, y minus 0 and z minus d, and that means z plus d will be the coordinates from this point to r minus r2, that is the differential vector, and hence the distance is going to be under root x square plus y square plus z plus d whole square will be there. So, this is the solutions. This is the solutions of the potential in the region of interest. Z is greater than or equal to 0. The denominator represents the distance from x, y, z, that is point P in our region of interest to the charge plus q and minus q respectively. It follows that if you substitute this z is equal to 0 in our equation, then what happens? If z is equal to 0 in this equations, this is equal to minus d square, that is going to do plus d square, and here it is again z is equal to 0, so plus d square is equal to there. That means denominator are going to be the same, numerator are going to be the same, so this minus this is equal to 0 and the potential is going to be 0. So, at z is equal to 0, that means xy plane at z is equal to 0, everywhere the potential is going to be 0. So, it satisfies the first boundary condition. Now, second boundary condition, if we consider x square plus y square plus z square is greater than d square, then what will be the potential? In this equations, if we substitute that x square plus y square plus z square is greater than d square, that means d can be neglected, and again this and this are almost same, and which indicate that potential tends to 0. And in that region of interest, only there is a point charge q is there at distance 0,0 d. But these are the precisely the same conditions of our original problem, and hence evidently the second configurations happen to produce exactly same potential as the first configuration. In the upper regions, z is greater than or equal to 0. The lower regions, z is less than 0 is completely different, but who cares? Because in a lower regions also the potential is going to be created, but we are not interested in the lower regions. Our interest of the region is on the upper regions of this conducting plane. So, in both the cases are almost equal. So, the potential in our original problem can be given by the same equation 3.9 in our region of interest. And conclusion, the potential of a point charge above an infinite grounded conducting plane is given by equation 3.9 for z is greater than or equal to 0, that is in upper plane. Notice the crucial role played by the uniqueness theorem in this argument. Without it, no one would believe this situation, since it was obtained for completely different charge configurations. Actually, it is imagination, a different charge configuration is there, and that creates our solution. But that solution is satisfying Poisson's equation, and it has correct value of the potential at the boundary, and hence according to the first uniqueness theorem and its corollary, we can say that this must be the solutions to our original problem. But the uniqueness theorem certifies that it is satisfies the Poisson's equation in the region of interest and assumes the correct value at the boundaries, and then it must be the right solutions. Now, our second thing is this: on a conducting plane, because of that charge plus q at residing at 0,0 d, how much amount of the charge will be induced or how much amount of the charge is surfaced to the conducting plane. And to find out that one, we know that the force of attraction will be acting on a negative charge, that is on free electrons which is coming to the surface. But the distance from that charge is going to be different for different electrons. And hence the charge density sigma, which is the surface charge density, which must be the function of xy, will be different at different points, and we want to find out that one. And to find out that one, there is a relations between the derivative of the potential, normal derivative of the potential, and surface charge density, which was derived in earlier chapter, and that equations we are going to utilize here. Now that we know the potential, we have already find out the potential in our region of interest and at the boundaries. It is straightforward method to compute the surface charge density sigma induced on a conductor. According to this equation 2.49, that is previous chapter, sigma, which is a function of xy, that is equal to minus epsilon 0 del v upon del n, where del v upon del n is the normal derivative of v at the surface. In this case, the normal direction is the z direction. So, we have to differentiate the potential with respect to z, a partial derivative, and then we multiply it with minus epsilon 0, that will produce the surface charge density sigma. So, first here it is we have differentiated our potential equation 3.9 with respect to z, and that comes out to be 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 minus q into z minus d upon x square plus y square plus z minus d whole square raised to 3 by 2 plus q into z plus d upon x square plus y square plus z plus d whole square raised to 3 by 2. And simplifying this, we are getting that sigma, which is a function of xy, that is equal to minus qd upon 2 pi x square plus y square plus d square raised to 3 by 2. As expected, the induced charge is negative. This minus sign indicates that induced charge is going to be negative, that because the actual charge placed at a distance d is going to be plus q charge. So, force of attraction and the surface, the negative charge will be coming, and the magnitude of the negative charge density sigma is going to be maximum at x is equal to y is equal to 0. Now, to compute a total induced charge, what we have to do? We have to integrate of sigma over the entire surface. That means, if we take the surface integration of sigma, which is a function of xy, into dA over the entire surface, then you will find out how much total charge is going to be produced on a conducting surface. This integral over the xy plane could be done in a Cartesian coordinates with dA is equal to dx dy because it is xy plane. But it is little easier to use a plain polar coordinate system r theta with r square is equal to x square plus y square and dA is equal to r dr d theta. Then your equation is going to be converted like this: sigma, which is a function of r in xy plane, where r will be having a coordinate xy, that is equal to minus qd upon 2 pi r square plus d square raised to 3 by 2. Here we have substituted for x square plus y square is equal to r square. So this integration can be carried out over here over two coordinates r and theta. So r is changing from 0 to infinity and theta is varying from 0 to 2 pi. That is equal to minus qd upon 2 pi r square plus d square raised to 3 by 2 r dr d theta. This is area elements, and this is equal to minus qd upon under root r square plus d square, which is a limit is taken from 0 to infinity. Substituting from higher limits to the lower limits, you will get this simplification is equal to minus q. So the total charge which is going to be induced on a plane is equal to minus q. The same thing is little bit more specifically, it is given in this figure and I have derived in the notebook, and some people could not understand that how that integration etc. was done. So for them I have just placed the pages of that one. So you can read these pages and the simplification is given over here. The same problem is here. There are charge plus q, and because of that plus q, there is a point P is taken. And what is the distance from the plus q to that point? It is nothing but x minus 0, that is equal to x coordinate, y minus 0, that is going to be y coordinate, and z minus 0, that is equal to z coordinate should be there. Z minus d is going to be z coordinates. Similarly, with respect to this one, x, y and z plus d coordinates will be there, which is substituted here, and you know that potential V is equal to x y z 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 q upon x square plus y square plus z minus d square raised to 1 half. Under root is converted here 1 half and minus q upon x square plus y square z plus d whole square raised to 1 half. Now this can be differentiated with respect to z, and the differentiation we have utilized the division rule. That means the first term was differentiated, q was differentiated, and that differentiation is going to be 0. Second term was placed as it is. Here you can say that x square plus y square plus z minus d square raised to 1 half was kept as it is, and we have taken the differentiation of q, which is going to be 0, minus q into differentiation of the second term, that is equal to, because the power was 1 half, so 1 half into x square plus y square z plus d whole square raised to minus 1 half into square minus 1 half plus 1 minus 1 half differentiation is going to be this 1 half minus 1, that is equal to minus 1 half, and the differentiation of z plus d whole square, that is equal to 2 times z plus d, and differentiation of z is equal to 1 divided by square of the denominator. So that is substituted here. Same kind of things is done for the second term. Here also the denominator is placed as it is, and numerator differentiation is going to be 0. Now the numerator is going to be placed as it is, and there is a differentiation of this thing, that is x square plus y square plus z plus d whole square raised to minus 1 half will be differentiation of this one, because this is going to be 1 half minus 1, so it becomes minus 1 half, and differentiation of z plus d whole square, that is equal to 2 times z plus d, and differentiation of z, that is going to be 1, divided by total, whatever denominator is there, the square of that one is placed, and simplifying this, we are going to get this thing, 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 minus q into z minus d upon x square plus y square plus z minus d whole square raised to 3 by 2 plus z q into z plus d upon x square plus y square plus z plus d whole square raised to 3 by 2. Now, note that we know that the potential, it is straightforward method to compute the surface charge sigma induced in this conductor. So, this equation we have to multiply minus epsilon 0. So, by substituting this one, sigma, which is a function of xy, that is equal to minus epsilon 0 into 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 minus q into z minus d upon x square plus y square plus z minus d whole square raised to 3 by 2 plus q into z plus d upon x square plus y square plus z plus d whole square raised to 3 by 2. Now, substituting at z is equal to 0, this integration we want at coordinates z is equal to 0 on the surface. So, sigma, which is a function of xy, that is equal to minus q upon 4 pi d upon x square plus y square plus d square raised to 3 by 2 plus d upon x square plus y square plus d square raised to 3 by 2. You can see that these two terms are going to be the same, so it is 2 times. And if it is divided by this one, you can see that this is equal to minus qd upon 2 pi x square plus y square plus d square raised to 3 by 2. Now, let us compute the total induced charge. That total induced charge q is equal to surface integration of sigma into dA. This integral over the xy plane could be done in a Cartesian coordinate system with dA is equal to dx dy, but it is better, little easier to use the plane polar coordinate system r theta with r square is equal to x square plus y square and dA is equal to r dr d theta. That you can see that if you are changing this direction, this is your xy plane and this is the origin. So, one coordinate is going to be r, another coordinate is going to be theta. So, this is your area elements is taken dr into r d theta. So, we can take this integration like this one, total charge q on a plane polar coordinate system, that is varying from, r is changing from 0 to infinity on this plane because the plane is infinite directions, x and y coordinates. So, r is tends to infinity, r is varying from 0 to infinity, and theta which is varying from 0 to 2 pi like this way. So, the total charge q can be obtained, that is equal to double integration 0 to infinity 0 to 2 pi qd upon 2 pi r square plus d square raised to 3 by 2 r dr d theta, that is equal to minus qd upon 2 pi, which is a constant, integration from 0 to 2 pi because theta is not present here. So, integration of d theta is going to be 2 pi, that can be cancelled out with this one, and integration from 0 to infinity 1 upon r square plus d square raised to 3 by 2 r dr is going to be there, that is equal to minus qd, 2 pi is going to be cancelled out, 0 to infinity r dr upon r square plus d square raised to 3 by 2. We can substitute here the value of r is equal to d tan alpha with respect to the angle from the charge q. It can be angle theta is going to be there and alpha is going to be changing from 0 to 90 degree. So, we are varying the coordinates actually now. R coordinates, which is infinite coordinates, we make it to finite integrations by converting this r coordinate with the coordinate alpha. So R is equal to d tan alpha we can substitute, and dr is equal to d sec square alpha, d alpha will be there. So R is changing from 0, then alpha is equal to 0, and R is equal to infinity, then alpha tends to pi by 2. So this integration is converted into finite integrations, and you substituted the value of R and dr in these equations, and that is equal to minus q into d 0 to 2 pi by 2. Here it is R dr. So R is equal to d tan alpha, and dr is equal to d sec square alpha d alpha, that is substituted here. So d square tan alpha sec square alpha d alpha upon here r square plus d square, that means r square is equal to d square tan square alpha plus d square raised to 3 by 2. And solving this one will get the directly I am giving you, that is equal to minus q minus cos alpha, the limit is changing from 0 to pi by 2. Substituting from higher limits to the lower limits, you can write minus cos pi by 2 plus cos 0, and that comes out the total induced charge is equal to minus q, and this way we can obtain the final value minus q. Thank you very much.